What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and welcome to the very first day of MLB Winter Meetings. MLB Winter Meetings kicked off today, December 4th, and really before we even started these actual winter meetings, there was a ton of stuff that went down that's going to make this Red Sox Winter Meetings both stressful and exciting. You had rumors about Brian Reynolds requesting a trade from the Pirates. The Red Sox have already been linked to him. You had rumors about Xander Bogaerts meeting with other teams. There is going to be a lot of stuff going on in the next couple of days, hopefully. So I thought, what better way to kick off the content of winter weekends than doing another prediction video. Before we get into the news and craziness of the winter weekends, let's have some fun. Today, what we are going to do is we are going to try and predict what the Red Sox opening day starting lineup for 2023 is going to be, all the way down to the exact position they are in this lineup. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It helps it out a ton and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. A couple of things before we get into the actual lineup here. I did forget to mention that this is a series on this channel, so if you're interested in the pitching side of predictions, I did do a starting rotation video, so you can take a look at that. The other disclaimer I have is the one I put at every single one of my prediction videos, and that is, it is more than likely that you are not going to agree with my lineup, which is perfectly fine. In fact, I would love to see what you guys have prediction-wise for this Red Sox starting lineup in 2023 down below. Let me know why you would choose certain players over the players I would choose. Let me know why you don't think the players that I would choose are going to be in your starting lineup. Anyways, let's get into it, starting with the guys that are for sure going to be in the starting lineup come opening day. These are the guys that are 100% going to be there. And we're going to start with Rafael Devers. This is a no-brainer, right? He's by far and away the best hitter on this team. He's our franchise player. He will obviously be in the starting lineup come opening day, regardless of whether or not you believe that the Red Sox will come to some sort of agreement with him on an extension before opening day. He will be there. He is not getting traded before opening day, despite what some Mets fans might have you believe. They are not going to trade him before opening day. So at least for opening day, it is 100% guaranteed that Rafael Devers will be on this Red Sox team and will be in that starting lineup. The second guy that is definitely going to be in this starting lineup is Kike Hernandez. Now, there's a reason the Red Sox decided to try and extend Kike and get an extension done before free agency opened. They believe he can be a legitimate impact piece on this Red Sox team in 2023. At the bare minimum, play a really good center field, but Kike was hurt at the plate a lot last year, and you never really got to see the full rebound of Kike Hernandez after his slow start that he does normally have. So I think there is some room for improvement there with Kike offensively, and obviously you know what you're getting defensively. All in all, I like it, and he's definitely going to be in the starting lineup come opening day. The next guy who I think is 100% shoo-in to be in this lineup is Trevor Story, obviously. Now, I've actually seen a pretty decent amount of Trevor Story slander out there on the internet, on this channel, on Twitter, wherever the last couple of days. I don't understand why. Trevor Story, A, was injured, so yes, there was a lot of time he did not spend on this Red Sox team, but they were freak injuries. How often do you see a guy break his hand getting hit in the hand with a fastball? It doesn't happen very often. And when he was on the field, he was wild. He was one of the best defenders in all of baseball defensively at second base. He would have won the Gold Glove had he not been injured most of the year. And offensively, yes, I'm going to admit, and everyone should be able to admit, that Trevor Story was not very good offensively when he got here. But after coming back from the injury, he really turned things up a notch. He figured something out in his swing, and he lit the world on fire a little bit when he came back from that injury. And that's the Trevor Story I think we should all expect in 2023. Trevor Story is not going anywhere, and he is a great player that will be a big part of this Red Sox team going forward. The last player I have on my 100% going to be in list is going to be a little bit of a controversial one, because I'm not sure how many people are going to agree with me, but I think Triston Casas will 100% be in this Red Sox starting lineup. In my opinion, I think that Tristan Casas has so much room to grow. Now, there are some question marks with his health and with his performance last year in terms of numbers, but if you were watching the end of this 2022 season, yes, it was hard to watch, but there were certain people and certain moments that you tuned in really hard for. Tristan Casas at-bats were one of them. The way he approached the at-bats, his eye for balls and strikes, his selectiveness with pitches, and his ability to hit the ball out to any part of this ballpark, to me, indicates something special. I think the Red Sox think the exact same way. So if we're placing bets on it, I truly think Tristan Casas will be in the starting lineup, barring no injuries. And that's really it for guys who I think are guaranteed to be in the starting lineup come opening day. I think there are a lot of guys who are maybes, so let's talk about them. This is a category for guys who I think have a legitimate shot at making the starting lineup come opening day, but their shot simply is not 100%, which puts them in the maybe category. And the first guy in this category is a guy that I actually wanted to put into the surefire category, but I just simply could not, and that is Alex Verdugo. Now, 95% of my brain is telling me, yes, Alex Verdugo will be on this 2023 Red Sox team, and he will be in the starting lineup, but there's 5-10% of me in there who's saying, look, if the Red Sox truly want a player and they want to trade for a player, and the missing piece to the equation to get them here is Alex Verdugo, I don't think Doogie's going to stand in the way of the Red Sox getting their man. What I mean by that is if there is a team that really wants Doogie and the Red Sox really want their player, I could see the Red Sox trading him away to get a certain type of player here. Who that player is, I'm not entirely sure, but I could see that happening. And for that reason and that reason alone, Doogie ends up in the maybe category. Now, the second guy on this list is more so a tandem than it is a singular guy, and that is the catching tandem we have on this Red Sox team right now. It's Reese McGuire and Connor Wong. Now, I put them in the same category because they're pretty much in similar situations, right? You've got potential in both of these guys to be a starting catcher. I would say Reese McGuire is much more ahead of Connor Wong in there, but Connor Wong is there, and it seems as though a lot of people would be content with them starting catcher, at least starting the year behind the dish at catcher. But at the same time too, the Red Sox have been fairly outspoken about the fact that they are looking to add some outside help to that catching position. So for that reason, obviously I cannot put them in the guarantee because there's a pretty good chance, it seems like, that the Red Sox may look outside for help at catcher. The next guy on this list is Eric Hosmer. Now, this is sort of a worst case scenario that he ends up in the starting lineup, but he could still end up in there. In my opinion, the only way I see Hosmer on this starting lineup is A, either Tristan Casas is injured or something happened, or B, the Red Sox did not do enough to get a proper DH and he ends up as the opening day DH. Those are really the only two scenarios I see. Either one of those would be kind of sucky, and I really hope that by opening day, honestly, Eric Hosmer is not on this roster because it means the Red Sox made a lot of moves. And finally, the last guy I'm going to consider a maybe, again, is a worst case scenario type thing. That's Christian Arroyo. We all know a certain player in a certain position is a free agent right now, a huge storyline right now, and there is a chance that he does not come back. If that does happen, I believe that Christian Arroyo will be our opening day middle infielder, somewhere in that middle infield. So that's the only scenario where I believe Christian Arroyo breaks the lineup opening day, again, barring any injuries or anything like that. And that's really it for maybes. I think a lot of our bench and a lot of the guys on our roster, you'd be hard pressed to find a reason to have them on this starting lineup opening day. Now let's talk about some guys that I think are going to be additions to this Red Sox lineup. At the end of the day, I think the Red Sox end up going with two players from the outside and retaining one player that they already had on this team. Now, we already know exactly where I'm going with the guy who they retain. When looking at predictions, there are two ways to predict, either with your heart or with your brain. Xander Bogaerts for me is both. My brain and my heart are saying yes, Xander Bogaerts needs to be on this Red Sox team. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be stressful. It's going to suck. It's going to seem like he's not coming back. I think the Red Sox find a way to pony up, pay him a fair value, and get him back on this team. I'm not going to go into super big detail defending that pick. I have been defending that pick since before the season even ended, so I'm just going to put that there because I figured we all knew where that one was going. As for guys who are coming in from the outside of the organization, the Red Sox right now need an outfielder somewhere, right? You got Doogie, you got Kike, but you don't really have that third outfield type. Just a day ago, Brian Reynolds requested a trade from the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Red Sox had already been been linked to Brian Reynolds this offseason. I would love to get Brian Reynolds here. It just kind of depends on the trade package. Him publicly asking for a trade from the Pittsburgh Pirates does help us out a little bit, though, from a pure business standpoint. You know that guy does not want to be there. You can offer a little bit less because you know the Pirates more than likely have to trade him. So in my opinion, this offseason, the Red Sox big splash trade-wise is Brian Reynolds. Now, the last guy on this list that I think the Red Sox are bringing in is the brain part of me that's predicting this. I think the Red Sox go out and get Mitch Haniger. Now, the reason I say this is because he kind of fits every other need offensively that the Red Sox need. He's a guy who can be a huge home run hitter. He's a guy who could take a lot of ABs at DH, and he's a guy who in that DH position can be more versatile. I think that the most logical answer to the DH power bat question is Mitch Haniger. I think you can get him at a fairly decent rate and not for a super long contract. And he's more of a short-term solution until you can find a more permanent one. But until then, I think Mitch Haniger is the perfect fit. Now we've got our shoo-ins, our maybes, and the guys I think the Red Sox are going to add. Let's construct this lineup. In the leadoff spot, we have Brian Reynolds. He's a switch hitter. He makes great contact. He's got pretty decent speed. Seems like a perfect match for leadoff hitting in Fenway. In the number 2 spot, we've got Rafael Devers. Statistically, putting your best hitter in that 2 slot gives him the most ABs and the most opportunities. You want Rafael Devers in that 2 hole. In the 3 hole, you've got Xander Bogaerts. This is obvious. It's right where he belongs. FSG, do the right thing. In the 4 spot, you have Trevor Story. Like I said, I think Trevor Story is going to have a much better offensive production-wise year, and I think the 4 spot is the perfect spot for him. In the 5th spot, we have a tentative Alex Verdugo. Like I said, I think there's a chance that he could get traded, but at the end of the day, I do think Doogie starts the year with the Boston Red Sox, and I think he starts the year in the 5th place. We'll get to why that may change later. In the 6th spot, we're going to go Mitch Haniger. If you do your offseason right and Mitch is your 6th man in this lineup, indicates that it is deep and it is powerful, and that's exactly what we want going into 2023. In the 7 hole, I think we go with Tristan Casas. This is where I said Doogie's a tentative 5. I think he starts the year in the 7 spot, but as the year goes on, slowly makes his way up in that lineup, eventually make his way to that 5th spot, mostly because I just think this is gonna be such a better year for Tristan Casas. In the 8th spot, we're gonna go with Kike Hernandez, who, again, I liked him at leadoff hitter, but I think after last year's offensive performance and without the pressure of having to get on base for Rafael Devers, Kike Hernandez will excel at the bottom of this lineup. And lastly, in that 9th spot, I think the Red Sox do retain Reese McGuire. I think they will look seriously at bringing in some outside catching help, but at the end of the day, there are so many holes on this Red Sox team that they need to fill appropriately. I think that catcher ends up going unchanged, and I think they start the year with Reese McGuire. And that's it. That is my starting lineup for 2023 opening day Boston Red Sox. There's probably a huge chance that you're sitting there right now completely disagreeing with me, so let me know what your starting lineup for 2023 would be and why. Let me know all your thoughts on this lineup down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like I said at the beginning, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Plus, you made it to the end here, you might as well hit that sub button. You also might as well hit that like button as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seat.